In 1937, the world was watching as Amelia Earhart, a pioneering aviator, aimed to do what no woman had done before: fly around the entire globe. With her plane loaded and the maps laid out, Amelia took off, chasing not just the horizon but her place in history. But somewhere over the vast Pacific Ocean, she disappeared, turning her story from one of adventure to one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. But who was Amelia Earhart before she became a headline, a mystery? Born in the heartland of America, this daring woman was always drawn to the sky, to the possibility of flying higher and farther than anyone else. She wasn't just another pilot. She was a symbol of courage and determination, showing the world that for those who dare to dream, the sky's the limit. So if you're hooked by these stories that leave more questions than answers, stick around. Don't forget to engage with this tale. It's a puzzle that's still waiting to be solved. So let's dive into Amelia's life, her achievements, and the enduring mystery of her final flight. Amelia Earhart was born in Kansas in 1897. As a kid, she was full of energy, always running around, climbing, and dreaming up adventures. She wasn't much for sitting quietly or doing what was expected of girls back then. Even from a young age, she showed signs that she was going to do something different. Her first real encounter with a plane was as a state fair, but it didn't make much of an impression on her. It was just another part of the fair, but everything changed at an air show that she attended later on. There, a pilot flew close by, and the excitement of that moment made her see planes in a whole new light. That experience woke up something inside her, a desire to fly. After that air show, Amelia was determined to become a pilot. This was a big deal because at the time, flying was mostly for men, but Amelia wasn't the type to let that stop her. She worked all sorts of jobs to save up money for flying lessons, and when she finally got to fly, it was clear she was where she was meant to be. So, Amelia's early years were about more than just growing up. They were about discovering a passion for flying and not letting anything stand in her way. This determination in her early life set her on a path to becoming one of the most famous aviators in history. After Amelia Earhart caught the flying bug, there was no stopping her. She quickly went from being a curious newcomer to setting her sights on some serious flying goals. Her first big moment came with her solo flight. When Amelia took to the skies alone, it was a clear signal that she was not just another pilot. She was someone to watch. This wasn't just a personal victory, it was a statement. Here was a woman in the early days of aviation, showing that she could fly as well as any man. But it was in 1928 that Amelia's name really shot to fame. She was invited to be the first woman to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. Although she wasn't the one piloting the plane, this flight was huge. It catapulted her into the international spotlight, not just as a pilot but as a symbol of what women could achieve. The flight was all over the newspapers, and suddenly, Amelia Earhart was a household name. People saw her as a trailblazer, someone who was pushing the boundaries of what was possible for women. This transatlantic flight was more than just a trip across the ocean. It was a turning point in Amelia's life and in the history of women in aviation. It showed the world that flying wasn't just a man's game and that women had an important role to play in the future of flight. Amelia became a spokesperson for aviation and for women's rights, speaking at events and writing books about her experiences. Amelia's rise to fame wasn't just about the records she set or the flights she made. It was about how she used her fame to inspire others. She showed girls and women everywhere that they could dream big and achieve those dreams just like she did. Her story wasn't just one of personal achievement, it was a story that changed how the world saw women in aviation and beyond. Amelia Earhart wasn't one to sit idle after making headlines as the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. In 1932, she set her sights even higher, aiming to cross the Atlantic again, but this time she would do it alone, without a co-pilot or navigator to assist her. This was no small feat. It meant facing the daunting expanse of the Atlantic, with its unpredictable weather and potential for mechanical failures, all by herself. She took off from Harbour Grace, Newfoundland, Canada, and after a grueling flight that tested her skills and endurance, she touched down in the pasture in Northern Ireland. But Amelia's ambition didn't stop there. In 1935, she embarked on a solo flight from Honolulu, Hawaii, to Oakland, California, a journey that was fraught with danger due to the vast expanse of ocean below. Successfully completing this flight, Amelia became the first person to fly solo across the Pacific from Hawaii to the US mainland. further cementing her status as a trailblazer in aviation. Amelia's record-setting achievements continued to accumulate. She set the record for the fastest non-stop flight across the United States from Los Angeles to Newark, completing the journey in just over 17 hours. Additionally, she reached an altitude of 18,415 feet, setting a new high-altitude record for female pilots. In 1937, Amelia Earhart was ready for what would be her most ambitious endeavor yet, a flight around the world. Unlike previous routes that followed the equator, Amelia's plans was to take a longer, more challenging path. The goal was clear: to circle the globe and prove once again the possibilities of aviation and the mettle of female aviators. The preparation for this monumental journey was meticulous. Amelia chose a Lockheed Electra, equipping it with the latest navigation technology. Though it was still rudimentary by today's standards, the plane was modified to carry more fuel, essential for the long stretches over the Pacific. Every detail, from the choice of runways to potential weather conditions, was carefully considered. Amelia and her navigator, Fred Noonan, pored over maps and charts, plotting a course that would take them from Oakland, California to Miami and then onwards around the globe. Their route was fraught with challenges, from navigating over vast, featureless oceans to landing on small, remote islands for refueling. Despite the dangers, Amelia's resolve never wavered. So the journey began on June 1st, 1937, and the initial legs went according to plan. Amelia and Noonan skillfully navigated from one waypoint to the next, making successful stops in South America, Africa, the Indian subcontinent, and Southeast Asia. But as they prepared to leave New Guinea for Howland Island, a tiny speck in the vast Pacific, the gravity of their undertaking became fully apparent. This leg of the journey would be the longest over water stretch, and precision navigation was critical. The Electra was loaded with as much fuel as possible, limiting room for error. Amelia and Noonan knew the risks. They understood that finding Howland Island, a tiny target in the immense ocean, would be a formidable challenge. So as they took off from Lae, New Guinea, on July 2nd, the world held its breath. The flight to Howland Island was more than just a leg of a journey. It was a leap into the unknown, a daring grasp at the edge of the world's imagination. Amelia Earhart, with a boundless courage and thirst for adventure, was not just flying, she was charting a course into history, pushing the envelope of human achievement and the spirit of exploration. This final flight, with its blend of ambition, risk, and meticulous planning, encapsulates the essence of Earhart's legacy. On July 2nd, 1937, as Amelia Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan set off from New Guinea toward Howland Island, the world was tuned in. They were eagerly waiting news of their safe landing. The flight was the most challenging leg of their journey, with over 2,500 miles of open ocean to navigate. So as they approached Howland Island, Earhart made contact with a U.S. Coast Guard cutter, Itasca, stationed near the island to provide guidance. Her messages indicated they were close but struggling to find the island. She broadcasted, "We must be on you, but cannot see you." Her voice was calm, yet betraying the urgency of their situation. But despite repeated attempts, communication was fraught with difficulties. The Itasca received Earhart's transmissions but couldn't establish a two-way connection. Earhart's final, chilling message conveyed that fuel was running low. Then silence. The plane and its occupants seemed to just vanish without a trace, sparking one of the largest search operations in history. The US government, along with other organizations, scoured the Pacific for weeks, covering over 250,000 square miles of ocean, but no evidence of Earhart, Noonan, or the Electra was found. So the disappearance of Amelia Earhart sent shockwaves around the world. The public, who had followed her journey with bated breath, was left in disbelief. Newspapers and radio broadcasts were filled with theories and updates, but no concrete answers emerged. In the aviation community, Earhart's disappearance was a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in early flight, particularly over such daunting stretches of the ocean. In the immediate aftermath, speculation ran rampant. Theories ranged from navigational errors leading to the crash at sea to being captured by Japanese forces in the lead up to World War II. Despite the extensive search efforts and numerous investigations, the fate of Earhart and Noonan remained a mystery. The lack of definitive evidence meant that their disappearance would remain an open case, fueling decades of further speculation, research, and exploration. Earhart's disappearance marked a poignant moment in aviation history. It really highlighted the dangers faced by aviators of the time and underscored the limitations of early 20th century aviation technology. While her intended round-the-world flight was meant to be a crowning achievement, it instead became a legendary mystery, forever etching Amelia's name into the annals of history, not just as a pioneering aviator, but as a central figure in one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the modern age. Since Amelia Earhart's disappearance in 1937, numerous theories have surfaced trying to explain what happened on that fateful day. Some suggest navigational errors led Earhart and Noonan off course, resulting in a crash at sea when they ran out of fuel. Another theory posits they may have landed on an uninhabited island, Nikumaroro, formerly Gardner Island, where some evidence including improvised tools and remnants of a campsite was found, though it's never been conclusive linked to Earhart. A more controversial theory suggests Earhart and Noonan were captured by Japanese forces, believing they were American spies. Some even claim Earhart survived and assumed a new identity, though these ideas were often veered into the realm of speculation without concrete evidence. Amid these theories, though, Earhart's legacy as a trailblazer in aviation and a symbol of courage and perseverance remains undimmed. She broke numerous records, pushed the boundaries of what was possible for female aviators, and inspired generations to pursue their dreams. Regardless of the obstacles, her legacy extends beyond her achievements and flights, embodying the spirit of exploration and the relentless pursuit of one's passions. Earhart's story, marked by both triumph and tragedy, continues to captivate and inspire, ensuring her place in history not just as an aviator, but as an enduring icon of bravery and adventure. Amelia Earhart's story, from her rise as an aviator pioneer to the enduring mystery of her final flight, continues to fascinate and inspire. Her achievements in the sky set new benchmarks for pilots everywhere, especially for women in aviation, challenging the norms of her time. The disappearance of Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, on their quest to circumnavigate the globe, remains one of the 20th century's greatest unsolved mysteries. Despite numerous theories and extensive searches, the fate of Earhart and her Lockheed Electra has never been conclusively determined. Finally, Earhart's life story, marked by significant achievements and a mysterious end, serves as a reminder of the risks inherent in exploration and the pursuit of dreams. Her courage and perseverance, the impact she made on aviation and beyond, ensure that Amelia Earhart's name will be remembered not just as a pilot who vanished, but as a symbol of the indomitable human spirit's quest for discovery. Thank you for watching.